This is the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show, episode 46 with Tristan Truscott.
The Entrepreneur Unleashed. The Entrepreneur Unleashed. Entrepreneurs Unleashed. The podcast where purpose and passion become revenue streams. Be real. Take a stand. Change lives. Here's your host, Patty Keating.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. I'm your host, Patty Keating. Entrepreneurs everywhere are creating a new breed of business success. They're making their own rules, taking a stand for their purpose, leading through integrity, and making money by changing lives. Join me each week for compelling messages that will inspire and empower you to unleash your true purpose. I am thrilled to bring you today Tristan Truscott. He is the owner and co-founder of the Satori Method, and he has always been involved with martial arts. He started as a young man, and he's got some really interesting stories to share about that. And at the base of who he is, freedom is something that he enjoys. He says that it points to time freedom, money freedom, and spiritual freedom. One of his greatest joys is coaching entrepreneurs to have more of all three of those by managing their daily energy, mastering their marketing, and merging their business practice with their spiritual practice. So we're going to dive into that today and learn a lot more about his story and how you can benefit by bringing your spiritual awareness and your spiritual practice into your business. Hi, Tristan.
Hello, Patty. It's awesome to be connecting with you again, and thanks for inviting me to the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I gave you a brief introduction, but I'm just going to let you elaborate a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about your business, and then we're going to roll back into the past and talk about what inspired you to start it. But let's start off just hearing, what's up with you and your business? What do you do? Who are you?
Who is this guy, Tristan Truscott? And what's all this talk about spiritual practice and business practice? I mean, it sounds a little like, whoa, how do those two worlds collide? If I go back real quick, I started out my journey of mind and body and spirit in the world of martial arts. I was a little kid living in Malibu, California. I'm very, very shy. I was originally from England, and I wanted to overcome a lot of those fears, the self-consciousness, all that kind of stuff. And so I was really blessed that there was a Chuck Norris karate teacher in Malibu, and my mom and my dad allowed me to take martial art classes. So that's really where I got my start in this whole conversation about personal mastery and focus and going beyond your fear, right? So I think that's something that comes up a lot for all of us as entrepreneurs. We have fears show up like, oh my gosh, what if this launch doesn't work, or this webinar, or this app goes down, or whatever. There's fear and stress every day. And I had so much of that stress as a little boy. I would grind my teeth at night. My palms were always sweaty. I was so self-conscious. I couldn't ask a girl out on a date. I totally shut down. And I thought that the karate could help, overcome that. And it was a beautiful journey, about 4+ years, and I earned my black belt. And when I got my black belt, Patty, I thought that I would be fearless. These are the things that I'd read about, the stuff that we see in the movies. I was going to be like a Bruce Lee. And although I was really strong and stoic on the outside, I still had a lot of trepidation and fear on the inside. So one of my teachers suggested that the true battle, the real fears, lie on the inside, not on the outside, fighting opponents and kicking and punching things, but overcoming my own internal obstacles. So I started meditation. And that's what took me down the path of a spiritual practice. I was already into surfing and being in nature. And I think organically, that was a way, I'm sure so many of us, when we spend time in nature, it taps us back in. We slow down, we kind of recalibrate, we catch our breath. We're like, okay, let me get out of my head. Let me get out of my fear. And so meditation was a way that I could do that, I think, a little bit faster. And so I started to overcome a lot of the fears by looking at what the programs were in my mind. And I went on a spiritual journey. And so that kind of is what brings us to this whole idea of what does it really mean as an entrepreneur. to have true freedom. I know a lot of times we'll talk about time freedom and money freedom, which are super duper important. But I also think there's a freedom on the inside that we're seeking. And that's why most people, I think, that have the entrepreneurial spirit, they are really looking to make a difference. They're looking to do something noble, something beautiful, something powerful in the world, and something that also helps to liberate them. So that's how I like to introduce that part of Tristan Truscott.
That's beautiful. Well said. So you've gone through this journey of overcoming fear and you've learned to meditate. What inspired you to start your business?
Great question. By the way, I've not overcome fear. It always shows up.
Yes.
I know now more how to catch it, how to redirect it and transform it and use it. It's fuel, really. So what inspired me? I mean, as a young boy, I already had the bug. I started in Malibu detailing cars. It was totally the Karate Kid journey for me. Me and my best friend, wax on, wax off all the way. We actually even detailed the cars of the guy who choreographed all the fight scenes in the Karate Kid. So interesting parallel there. But we had the entrepreneurial bug. We had we had a program or a business called Radical Auto Detail. We were such the surfer kids, What can we call our business? Well, this is going to be rad, bro. It's going to be epic, bro. We're going to be Radical Auto Detail. And we detailed the cars for the stars in Malibu. I mean, I used to do Julie Andrews' cars, her husband, Blake Edwards from all the Pink Panther movies. We did Lou Gossett Jr., Pointer Sisters, Ruth Pointer, even Steve McQueen's cars because we knew his son, Chad McQueen. So we were like high on life. We had our own condo. We had our own new trucks. We were like, young little entrepreneurs. And we were also really into martial arts. So my life took a turn and I moved in the direction of wanting to not just detail cars, but I wanted to open my own karate school. And so I ended up actually leaving California, kind of wanted a new life. And I ended up in Austin, Texas. And I started my first martial art business in Austin. I was young. I think I was like 22, but I had maybe entrepreneurs can relate to this. I don't know if it was arrogance. I had a lot of confidence that I was going to have the biggest and the best martial arts school in Austin when I moved here. I think that's a little arrogant, but you know what? Sometimes that can work. And I walked into this place and I wanted to have my school there. And I remember going into the office and telling the guy, hey, listen, I'm going to have the biggest martial arts school here in Austin. And if you'd like it to be at your location, I'd be happy to do that here. He's probably thinking, who is this kid? He actually said, really? Okay, why don't you give me a proposal? So I did. And I got the space and the place. And I grew that into a martial arts school that had over 450 active students at one point. And that was my real beginning of, I think, becoming a truly successful entrepreneur. And I'll say this, not just that it made money, it made a lot of money over the years, it made millions of dollars, but it was the first time I was doing something that I was absolutely passionate about. I completely loved teaching martial arts. I loved empowering women and children how to protect themselves, how to be safe. And I really felt that I'd found my purpose. So that's where it began.
Isn't that amazing that we just come in with that sometimes? This is the way I'm going to live my life. This is what I'm going to do. And we go for it.
I think you got to go for it. Yeah. You can't hold back with this thing. It's either you're going to make it happen or, you're going to go back to the old job. And I realized early on that a job is not for me.
Yes, I completely understand. So along the way, let's talk about a few challenges. What obstacles showed up on this path to success?
I think we've got them all the time, little ones every day. And then you get the big ones, the sucker punches, the curveballs that just sometimes knock you down. And, when you're writing your own paycheck, it's scary because, if you're down and out, who's going to keep things going and what do you do? And so that actually happened to me. I was lucky I'd already built a team. And I had a business partner that was great. He was able to be there for me. But I had a serious crippling back injury one day teaching my martial art class, self-defense workshop. And I won't go into the long of it all, but I'll just cut to the chase, which was I was carried out of my martial arts school that particular night. I could not get up. I could not walk. And I'd been hit and punched and kicked so many times. It's been 30 years now that I've been teaching. And I could always push through the pain, but in this particular occasion, I couldn't. I'd been wearing those full body armor suits. and letting the women and the young girls going off to college beat me down like, the attacker. And I wanted to train them in such a way that I knew that I'd given them the best of the best training and the emotional confidence that if, God forbid, anyone ever tried to harm them, they would be able to beat the you-know-what out of the person. So I'd wear the suit and let them beat me down. And I think my body just took such a beating, literally, and there was some internal stress things going on. But that night, it just snapped, everything broke and I fell. And it was 5 years, Patty, before I could teach again. It was a really big challenge for me. I lost my identity, not only as a martial art teacher, which we call a sensei, but I also lost my identity as a provider and as a businessman. I couldn't teach anymore. I was so not only broken, but I was broke. So the medical bills were getting really high. At one point, I went to Beverly Hills and had a $90,000 back surgery. And even that didn't work. So my whole story is sort of like I hit a point where I was ready to throw in the towel. And I think people can relate to that, like maybe with your business. Maybe there's been a point where you're like, I just can't do this entrepreneurial thing, or I just can't get this business off the ground. I think I got to go back and be with a different situation or take that job again or whatever. And for me, it was not just that, because I could have lost the business. But like I said, I had a great business partner who helped carry us through. And I was also learning how to build websites at that time, because all I could do was sit in a damn chair. But I was trying to do my part. But the part about like feeling like wanting to throw in the towel was I just felt like, what's the point at this, stage in my life? If I can't teach anymore, if I can't do the thing that I love so much and I'm in so much pain, I can barely walk, I've gained like 30 pounds of weight and the money's not there, maybe I'm done. And not that I would ever want to take my life, I would never want to do that to my family or to my friends, but I wanted a way out of the pain. So I made a deal. It was the first time I made a deal in this way, though. It was a deal, I like to call it my deal with the divine. And this is really what brings it back into this spiritual journey, because I had been so used to, as a business owner and as a martial art fighter, I do everything myself, right? How many of us feel that way? I will do this. I will make this happen. This is my dream and nothing's going to stop me. Well, my body was going to stop me and my mind was stopping me. And so I'm going to use the word surrender, but it's not in a place of weakness. I just had to ask for help. And I made that deal. And I just asked God, love, universe, whatever people call that. For me, it's the divine. I said, can you please help me? If I could be healed, I've heard about these amazing healings. I've heard about energy healings and things like that. If I could be healed, I'll do everything I can to pay it forward. I was healed. I was led to a type of martial art. It's a moving meditation martial art. It's like Tai Chi that you see people do in the park. But this is the grandfather, if you will, of Tai Chi. It's called Qigong, means working with energy. And I started to learn this practice from someone visiting from China here in Austin. I did the practice. It's an incredible practice for anyone to have more balanced energy in their life, to deal with stress, to deal with healing. As entrepreneurs, our bodies take a beating. I know that. So it's a great thing for you guys to investigate if you're only just now hearing about it. But Qigong healed me. And now I'm paying forward that deal that I made, which was that I will help other people out of pain. And that's what's led me into the new version of my business today.
Wow, that is remarkable. Learning to ask for help can be a big lesson. I know I've experienced that myself.
Yeah, it was scary, to let go, it feels like you're giving up control of things. That's why I called it surrender. But, there's a lot of help out there for us. Just a show like this, I think, Patty, what you're doing, people are looking for insights. They're looking for breakthroughs, and you're providing an environment for that to happen. And everyone's different, right? And we're going to hear different things at different times. I had not been ready for Qigong earlier in my life. I thought it was woo-woo, and I poo-pooed it. That's a technical term. But it was what I needed in that moment, but I had to give up some control.
What lesson did you learn as a result of that?
Well, the big one is to ask for help, for sure. And then the other is that I think there's things that show up in our lives that are trying to teach us something, trying to teach us a lesson. I think ultimately we we asked for the lesson, even though it comes in a way that's pretty harsh sometimes, or hard, and maybe that's just the hardness of us. It feels to me like you go to a restaurant and you place an order for, let's say, some scrambled eggs, and then you're in this great conversation with somebody. It's going on for a really long time, and it took a long time for the eggs to come. By the time they finally come, you totally forgot you ordered them. You're like, I didn't order that. And I think lessons sometimes show up and you're like, I didn't ask for this. It's like, well, you kind of did in a different, maybe just not remembering. And here's what I recall, Patty. I was asking for, like, I love martial arts and I will always love it. And I loved what I was doing. But I felt like there was a next step for me, that I was supposed to be doing something more than just teaching people how to fight. And because of the meditation practice that I'd learned earlier in my life, I felt that it had helped me so much overcome fear, but not just through physical fighting, but through breathing right and through letting go of my old programs, and that maybe in another way I could help people with that. And I think the back injury was life basically leveling me up, saying, hey, there's more inside of you that wants to come through. I want to help this happen. This is the catalyst. So now that I look back, I wasn't a victim. I was somebody on a particular mission. I just had forgotten what the mission was, and now I know exactly what it is.
So fast forward to today. What are you passionate about right now?
This call. Yeah, right now in the moment, and also the audience. I have come to love the power of what we can do as entrepreneurs using the internet and online. And we're using it right now, right? We're using this app that we have on our computers. We're reaching people through iTunes or wherever they're listening to this. This really floats my boat. You know, the ability to serve others. And so going back to my core mission is, how may I serve and how may I help more people out of their pain and their struggle? That's not just back pain or neck pain. Like, I started a whole online health and wellness company. That's what the Satori Method is. And we have an online academy. And my goal was, like I said, I've got to deal with the divine. I got to fulfill that. And I wanted to reach more people than I could just reach in Austin. So I said, okay, what do I do? Let me leverage this thing called the internet. What the heck is this? This is a while back, right? This is back in '06 that I'm starting to explore this stuff. Now, I already knew how to build a website, sort of. I built my first website with Microsoft Publisher. Don't tell anyone. But it got it up. Since then, we've come a long way. But I started to leverage the internet, and I started to study online marketing and just general marketing. My first course was by a guy named Joe Vitale called Hypnotic Marketing Secrets.
I remember that.
Remember that one? That was the big old box came, put up my credit card, $1,000, all these books, and but it was copywriting, right? Like, that's a really big, like, hey, hello, everybody listening, copywriting, master it. It's not about just writing. It's about how you speak. It's about storytelling. But anyway, I'm hopefully I'm not derailing too much. What I'm excited about is using the power of the internet to reach more people and combining it with your purpose-driven business. And that's what I did. Was I took my dojo, my martial arts school, and I made a virtual copy of it as a health and wellness transformation academy. So that's one thing I'm super excited about. And the other is teaching people how to do that. And that's why I'm stoked to be on the show.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That's one of my favorite things to do with people, is to get their expertise out in the world using online delivery and marketing.
Yeah, good for you.
So let's look forward. What's your vision for the next 3-5 years?
Everybody listening, helping them if I can, helping people obviously spread the word about what they're up to. I'm really into, like you, passion-driven, purpose-driven type businesses. I think every business and every entrepreneur is just a big thumbs up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But I just love working with people that are into what I'm into. I mean, just face it, you got to find your peeps. So I'm into helping people that are into personal growth, personal transformation, spiritual growth. So I look for those kinds of people. And my vision is to continue to play at a bigger level. And what I mean by that is, when I started online, I knew nothing. I felt like a total white belt, which I was. And I said to myself, if I could get a black belt in the martial arts, then I want to get a black belt in business and online marketing. And that's exactly what I dedicated myself to do. And so I've been studying and studying. And what I like to do is aggregate a lot of information and distill it down into a simple process. That's what I did for my martial arts students. I studied so many different styles of martial arts because we were exposed to something called mixed martial arts. And there's karate and kung fu and jujitsu and aikido and ninjutsu. There's so much out there. And I realize it's exactly the same with online marketing. There's so many different ways of looking at this. There's so many moving parts. And if you're getting into this as an entrepreneur and you don't have like a mainframe, if you don't have a reference to all the moving parts, you can feel so overwhelmed and so stressed out and never move the needle. And so I like to try to build for people like a map, almost like a black belt map. Like, okay, here's step one, and we're going to accomplish this in the first month. And then here's the next month and the next, and really get clear. And I would just say that to everyone, please make sure you're mapping out your journey. Figure out the moving parts first so you understand the landscape of the online world. Then find the best programs and coaches and teachers you can to speed up the process, because you cannot do this all alone. There's just no way. That's why we go to masterminds, right, Patty?
Absolutely. 100% agree. I hear your passion in this.
Well, there's so much to be had. There's so much great, beautiful, like I work from home. I got my 2 dogs with me right now. We're making money and we've got time. I set my own schedule. I hang out with the coolest people. I really get to live the dream. I mean, there's hard stuff always. I'm not pretending. There's always something, but it's on my terms. So I'm fired up because I've seen people do it. I've seen people get online and make it happen. So maybe if you're a newbie to this, please hear the passion. And if you are somebody that's been doing it a while and you're cracking the whip and you're just not seeing the progress, maybe this puts a little bit of fire into it. And it's like, whoa, okay, hang on, I got to get fired up again. And maybe you're a savvy marketer already, but don't lose your passion. Remember to put the purpose, dive into the purpose and keep leveling up. Like, okay, how can I help more? I think that, to me, if I tie this whole talk back to spiritual freedom, I believe that on your path of life, that we came here, I like Mark Twain saying, the 2 most important days in your life is the day that you were born and then the day you realize why you were born. And so as marketers, as entrepreneurs, and as human beings, we keep evolving. You're not the same person you were when you were in high school. You're so different, and your mindset and your belief systems and your values, everything's changed. So if we check in and ask, who am I right now today? And do I like who I am? And if I like who I am, then how can I help even more people like and love who they are in their lives? And I think that's a spiritual practice. And that by doing that and serving others, you actually liberate yourself. And I won't go into the whole yoga behind that, but just anyone who's into yoga, just a quick thought on that. It's called karma yoga, which basically means try to be as selfless and giving as possible so you can burn off all your old karma and liberate yourself. And I don't know so much about the karma talk anymore, but I do know that I feel incredible when I help others. I feel incredible. And the only way I can help others, I got to take care of me first. I want to take care of my wife and my family, and then just let it overflow and become an abundant entrepreneur.
I love that. I love it. Oh, let's talk about growth, because we grow when we are on this path. And what I want you to share is, what is the best advice you ever received?
As a marketer, bar none, Tristan, stop trying to sell the system, the modality, the thing that you're so passionate about. Yes, people are going to want that, but you can't meet them with that. Find out what their struggle is, their pain points, where they're at right now. What's the conversation going on in their mind? What keeps them up at night? Like that stuff. Go into their world and meet them there, and then solve that problem. And then you can add the other stuff later. Because I just came so into this with like, you've got to learn to meditate. You need to know Qigong. You need to know, and all those things are great. But as marketers, that's not where people are at yet. And so I would say that. And the other most important part is really know who you want to serve. Like I used to think my market was everyone. And we hear, get niche and get sub niche and all that. And that's cool. But who are the people that you just love helping and you'll help them for free? Like I was at an internet marketing party here in Austin recently, and there's a lady that's come twice, and she's driven all the way from Houston. It's not that far, it's a couple hours drive. And I go to these when I can, when I'm in Austin. One of my friends runs this, and it's great. It's a networking environment, and a teacher comes and helps people. And he said, hey, Tristan, can you be an ambassador to this lovely lady? She's just getting started. And so we've been chatting and talking, and she's into wellness and health and helping people, get really healthy again and lose weight. And I realized I so want to help her, and I'll do it for free because that's my tribe. She's one of my tribe. So I tell you those two things: find the people you love to serve and then meet them where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So what about for you personally? What personal growth have you experienced as a result of all of this?
That's such a great question. Okay, so here's something that, in fact, this was coming into fruition when I first met you, when we were at Jeneth's event, and we had been asked, there was a mastermind, we had been asked what was the big breakthrough that we'd had that year. And I remember getting up at the podium to share, and I was sitting at the table, and I thought, what was it, Tristan? Was it that launch? Was it that conversion thing? Was it tactical? And it was much deeper and bigger than that. And so since this is a personal growth question, what it was for me was I had been, so Tristan, into meditation, martial arts, all that. You kind of can probably visualize what kind of person that is and what he's into and how he likes to spend his time. Then you can see the entrepreneur guy who loves the online business and all that. How do those two worlds fit together? And they fit together because my business life and my spiritual practice have become one and the same. When I'm sitting here with you right now, this is as fun for me as doing Qigong or martial arts. What I love about my business is that it's helping other people to grow and be happy and healthy. That feels like it's aligned with my spiritual practice. So my biggest thing was just to realize there's a congruency in what I'm doing. And when I'm incongruent or out of alignment, my energy is split and I feel off. You ever just feel off? Like something's not right. This doesn't feel like what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's sometimes I think we look at people and go, they seem so lucky, like things just line up for them, or they seem so whatever, fired up. I think it's because of alignment of who you are and what you're doing. So that's the big growth thing for Tristan right now. Anyway.
Yes, achieving that and now inspiring others to go there.
Yeah. And people need help with that because there's so much noise out there. So many people telling us what we should do. And this is the best niche to get in. Oh, that one makes some money. It's like a kid going off to college and, mom, dad says, well, be a doctor. You make a lot of money. Oh, okay. And you have freaking no interest in being a doctor. Like if you don't like the dating niche, don't be in the dating niche. If you don't like business coaching, don't do that. Do what you freaking love and find a way. There's somebody out there that found a way. Find your way.
All right, so let's switch into practical gear. What gadgets or tools do you use in your business and life to make things easier?
So one thing is I use two browsers, and I keep all of my online apps in one browser, and anything else that I'm doing, like searching online or whatever, I keep in a separate browser, and I keep it minimized so that I don't get distracted or derailed during the day, because there's so many other people's agenda out there for us. You got to stay focused on your agenda. So that's just a simple tactic. Just one browser, keep your online apps open on there. So for me, and now I have to be careful with this because I use Google and I use Gmail. So you want to keep bumping over to the mail and checking it. And I just refuse to do that. But Google Drive has been wonderful for me. I can share docs with people. We can edit them at the same time. I've got online storage. My files go wherever I want. I like it. It's kind of free. You can do all your Word docs on there. You can do your PowerPoints. You can run webinars using that, unless you don't like having Google Drive open while you're doing your webinar. But other than that, I love Google Drive. So that's a free resource. Page building and all that. I mean, I started with Dreamweaver, and it's a pain in the butt to learn coding, I think. So don't do that. Just use the amazing online apps that are coming out, like Lead Pages or ClickFunnels. I'm just now going through ClickFunnels, and I friggin' love Russell's stuff. It's so good. He thinks like just a ninja marketer. There's so many pages for me on Lead Pages. It takes me too long to pick one. So, just find one and make it work for you. But Lead Pages is awesome. You got to have a great email app delivery. So that's essential. If you're an online marketer and you're building your list, you better make sure your emails are getting in the inbox. We use Interspire with a company called Email Delivered. So if you're interested in how that works, look up Email Delivered. They're awesome. Good friends of ours here in Austin, super duper ethical, no spamming nonsense, keep your list real clean and pruned and everything. So I love them.
We'll put all of this on the show notes pages, which will be over at pattykeating.com/Tristan Truscott.
And I'll say hustle. You got to hustle, man. I love being in the flow, and I can flow well and I get a lot done. But some days you just got to hustle. I think that's the old black belt in me. It's like, I'm not afraid to work. Bring it on. Let's go. Stay away from shiny objects. It's just a tip. There's always a new one. You really don't need them. Not really. They're fun to play with, but they just distract. I use a Wishlist Member for my membership site, but it sounds like with ClickFunnels, you don't need that. But I do use WordPress for our main websites. And there's so many great themes out there today. Just make sure you're picking responsive so that it's mobile friendly. Lead pages and ClickFunnels all tie into WordPress, so that's super cool. My online shopping cart is UltraCart. I know a lot of people use Infusionsoft. I'm sure it's amazing now. It wasn't amazing when I started with them. I hear a lot of good things about it now, but UltraCart works well for me, especially if you're a newbie. You can get started for really inexpensive. I think it's like $50 or $60. And it has an affiliate backend built right into it. And I'll just say this up front, it's deep. It's a powerful application, but you can do a whole lot of stuff with it. So I love UltraCart. And as far as online recording and things, I think Skype's cool. I like Webinar Jam a lot. I love Webinar Jam, how it skins Hangouts. I don't know if this would be leaking too much information, but there's some new stuff coming with Webinar Jam was going to be wonderful. Actually, that's all I'm going to say is just keep your eyes on it. It's getting better. It's getting an upgrade. Yeah, those are my main go-tos.
Awesome. Thank you. Great stuff. What about resources, books, podcasts, blogs? What are you reading, listening to?
I like The Entrepreneur Unleashed, of course.
Thank you.
I don't do a lot of podcasting. It's just so much comes through my email that I'm listening to, but those I would recommend right there. I think Clay Collins over at Lead Pages has a podcast that I would highly recommend that you listen to those guys. They're super awesome marketers.
All right. So looking back, if you were to do all of this over again, what would you tell your younger self?
Pretend that it's my little brother. Because I remember, telling him as a young 6-year-old boy, to find his passion, right? I mean, we hear it, it's so unfortunately cliche, but boy, is it so important. And I would encourage my younger brother or my son to just really listen, go inside and listen, man. There's like an inner GPS that will help you and guide you, and don't just listen to everybody else and all the noise. Find great teachers, mentors, and coaches. And you deserve the best ones. Don't settle for crappy teachers. How will I know? You'll know. It'll resonate. You'll feel the trust factor. You'll feel their integrity. I would say, if you're looking for a great teacher, I would tell my child, don't look just at the teacher. Look at their students. Look at their students. This is a really big tip. What have their students done? Because if their students have done something awesome, then they had a great teacher. That's how you find good teachers. So that's a huge tip I would give my son or my daughter. I mentioned not leading with the modality or, your thing. Find what the root cause is, the true pain problem that your people, find your tribe. What are they struggling with? Start there. I would finish the courses that I bought. Stop moving on to the next course. When we got Total Product Blueprint, there's another great resource for you guys from Brendan Burchard. I went through the whole thing, and we built one of our best-selling products because we took the time to go through it. We built a Qigong 4-week journey, and we blocked it out and did it. We followed the protocol. It's called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong, and it rocks. People love it, and the feedback we get so often is we love the structure and the layout and the flow. Because we followed the damn schematic. So there's a lot of people out there that have done all the heavy lifting. Go to the good ones and go through their programs and complete them. How did we do it? We locked off a Friday. And every Friday, that was our day. And we met with a couple of people, so it held us accountable. I know I'm back to future tense, but those are the tips I would give to my younger self.
Awesome. Great, great, great. And For those people out there who want to connect with you, give us your website. How can they learn more about what you're up to?
My health and wellness academy is satorimethod.com. SATORI method, METHOD.com. And you could look at the site, the way we built it, the flow, navigation, all that kind of stuff. Feel free to give us feedback, but that's a great site to see what we're up to. We've created a whole product suite around health and wellness. And then, as you can tell, I'm super passionate about being a teacher and coaching, and I've turned that passion into not just the martial arts, but the online marketing side of it. So I love to coach people through that, especially somebody just getting started. I like to help protect them from all the pitfalls and point them in the right direction, like I think we're doing here today.
Thank you so much. This was a blast. I really appreciate what you're doing, who you are, and that you came onto our show and you're sharing all of this in the world. Thank you so much.
It's great. It's a great joy. When everybody out there, when I met Patty for the first time, she was speaking at a great event, and she had her booth right next to ours in the back, and there were just tons of people kept coming over because her energy is just so magnetic, and she's just so giving and really skilled and crafted at what she does. So you got a good podcast here and an amazing person to be learning from. And so thank you for having me. I felt honored to be here today.
If you're a visionary leader who has a message for the world and you're ready to unleash your greatness, you don't want to miss this transformational 3-day event coming up August 12th through 14th in Portland, Oregon. Unleashed Live, where you will learn the exact steps to find your money spot, that place where your purpose and passion become revenue streams. You'll understand how to create a compelling message that resonates with your unique set of ideal clients so you can help more people, make more money, and create the freedom lifestyle business of your dreams. Head on over to pattykeating.com/unleash-live to learn more and get registered for the live event August 12th through 14th. in Portland, Oregon. See you there. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. If you did, please go to pattykeating.com and let me know what you're up to this year in your business. While you're there, be sure to grab your copy of 5 Quick Ways to Share Your Expertise.